So we're going to create right now the two basic tags that you use when creating an HTML document. And these tags are known as the paragraph tag and the block quote tag. Very similar actions with one or two distinct differences. So I'm just going to show you real quick here in Paint how this first paragraph tag works. You start with a left tag, which is again above the comma. Now, the paragraph tag is represented by the letter P. That is it, just the letter P. Then we hit the right tag, which is above the period on the keyboard. And then we type text inside of here. Anything contained within the opening and closing paragraph tag belongs to that paragraph. So we had our opening paragraph tag, typed in text for the paragraph, then we do another left tag, a slash, type in the letter P, and then close it. That in simple is our paragraph tag. So let me go over and do this in expression, but before I do this, I want to make our life simpler, especially when we get into more sophisticated stuff. And I'm going to go and I'm going to turn off real quick the code automatically creating my end tags. This way we have a little more control over what we're typing. So I go up to Tools, I go to Page Editor Options. And under Page Editor Options, I'm going to go to IntelliSense. And down a fourth of the way here, well actually about halfway, I have the option to turn off my closed tags. So I'm going to do that. Hit OK. Very good. So now we're going to create our first paragraph tag. So left tag, letter P for paragraph. Some are represented by letters, some are represented by words. You just kind of have to pick and choose and know what you want to do. So in short here, I'm just going to do the paragraph. Type in, this is a paragraph. Hey, I can spell. That is good. And then when I'm done with this paragraph, I can close it off. Remember to slash and then the letter when it's a closed tag. I go to Design View. There's my paragraph. If I was to keep typing, and I'm just going to, real quickly, just so I can do a demonstration, copy and paste this a bunch of times. I'll show you how to fix this word wrap issue here in a second. Notice how in the browser, it just keeps it all as a paragraph. Never indents like you do with English, but it all is a paragraph. This is all contained within the same paragraph. So you can actually see all the text. Let me go back in and show you where to turn on word wrap as well. That's Page Editor Options. I don't think it was under IntelliSense. I want to say, yep, under General, you can go to Word Wrap, and it enables the words to wrap around. Notice something with this. When we wrap the words around, that line 10 never changes. This is all still part of line 10. But the way the code looks at it and the way the browser looks at it when it shows up are two different things. I want to show you something else. If we create another paragraph, just to show you, it will, remember, open tag, little text, close tag. When I go down to Design View, our second paragraph has a space between the first paragraph and second paragraph. I'll show you in the next lesson how to create text where it doesn't do that, but automatically jumps down to the next line. Within our paragraphs, and this is what I was talking about in the last video, we can put in some attributes or descriptions that do things. The most common we're going to use is the align. That tells us, do we want it centered, justified, left or right? Please ignore that. So p-align equals, we're going to say center. Notice how when we do this, we have a space between our P, then the word align, or whatever description we want to use, equals quotation mark, center, end quotation mark. If I wanted to do another description, like give it an ID, which would be a name, call it Fido, you can keep going through and keep doing all these different actions. But again, at the very end, when we end the tag, we only just need that letter P. So that in itself will be with every tag we use, but I'm just showing you it here now. The main one you'll use is p-align equals center. I can show you what that looks like real quick. That centered that paragraph. Now the reason I'm showing you this in code first, as opposed to just having you type it on the browser here, or in design view, is because when we get into harder things, you're going to need to know that code backend on how it works. So I'd rather take the time, have you learn the code. The other one we're going to learn is known as a block quote. And it begins, this time it's the whole word. It's the whole word block quote. And then text goes here, and then we end the block quote. The only difference beside the word block quote instead of letter P between the paragraph and the block quote is simply the block quote automatically indents from the left and the right. That is it. You see this very often in English papers. This was just a quick way to automatically make text indent. So if you look here, the block quote automatically indents from the left and the right. If I was to do the same thing I did up top and copy and paste this a bunch of times, so you can actually see this in action, that should do. See how it automatically indented from the left and the right. That's the difference between the block quote and the paragraph. Those are your two basic text editing pieces. So what you are allowed to do is pause this video, and before you do the next one, play with it. Open up Expression, get a new document, make sure you're doing this inside the body, and play with the paragraph tag, aligning the paragraph tag, and the block quote.